Hello, everybody. My name is John Wright, and I am the Director of Public Relations for Hardin County Schools. And it is turned into Blizzard 2021 outside, and that's something that certainly everybody is aware of. And so that is why we are doing this Facebook Live, in a distance sort of fashion. I'm with Yvette Sweeney. She is the President and CEO of the Central Kentucky Community Foundation. And the Central Kentucky Community Foundation is a wonderful, wonderful partner. I cannot state that enough of the Hardin County Schools. They do so much for us, the Hardin County Education Fund, and then the Benjamin Grant has been so critical for us over the years. And there are just so many things that Central Kentucky Community Foundation does for us, and the partnership is tremendous. And a cornerstone, I think, has turned into a cornerstone of that partnership is Scholarship Central, and that's what the vet is here to talk about with us today, and how it can help our students and their families as they go through this crazy senior year of pandemics and snowstorms and ice storms and everything else. But college is still coming. Our post-secondary career, post-secondary education is still coming. Time doesn't stop for a pandemic or a snowstorm, either one, and May is coming. So the vet, talk to us about what Scholarship Central is and how it can help our students and their families.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me today, John. And I'm grateful for the technology that lets us still do this when we can't be in the same place and we don't want to be out on the road. So I'm glad to do it distanced on Facebook Live and help get the word out to students about these scholarship opportunities. And we appreciate all that you all do at Hardin County Schools to help make that happen. And thinking about this snow day, or I guess it was President's Day, students were off, but probably the possibility that they're not going to be in school maybe for another day or two gives students a really great chance to spend some time on scholarships. I know those teachers will still have coursework for them to do, but maybe a little bit of flexibility with not being traveling into school and that in-class time that they can work on scholarships, because we know that the pandemic has really affected students' lives and their educational paths. But as you said, what happens after you graduate in May is still coming down the pike. That hasn't changed. And it probably has been hard to wrap your head around. I really am a senior this year, when a lot of those normal senior things haven't felt like your real senior year. But don't let that keep you from applying for the scholarships. If you think there's a chance at all that you're going to go to school after you graduate high school, then take the time, invest in yourself, and apply for these local scholarships.
And that local, I think, the vet is a big word, because these, almost 200 scholarships, almost $300,000, or you know the exact figure of scholarships that are available. Those mostly come from local businesses, foundations, trusts, individuals, maybe just philanthropy in estate planning or wills or whatever. People have left legacies for our students. So just talk about the local piece of that and how our community really, I think, invests in its future as good or better than any community, at least in Kentucky.
Yeah, so these scholarships, they do all come from the generosity of people right here in our region. There's over $300,000 available for our students, and those will go out to schools in the 9-county region that we serve, and a lot of those being open to Hardin County School students, and many of them being specific only for students at certain Hardin County high schools. So definitely check those out. And I think it is important to distinguish that these are gifts that people have given to our community, that they care about our students. They want to invest in that future. And that's coming out of their own generosity, and what that does say about our community, how much they value our young people and how much they value education. So we're glad to aggregate a lot of those local scholarships here in one place on a platform called Scholarship Central. And I think that website's there on the screen for you, CKCF, the number 4people.org, where students can go in And with one application, they can apply for any number of scholarships that are on Scholarship Central that they may be eligible for. So when a student goes on there, you click and create an account. Once a student registers, it's just like creating a, an Amazon account or a Spotify account. You sign up with an email address. Please don't use your school email address. Please use a personal Gmail, Hotmail account type thing so that we can get in contact with you after you graduate. If you're lucky enough to be a recipient, create that account, and then you complete one common application. And once you do that common application, you're able to use that to apply for those many scholarships that you may be eligible for. So when a student goes in and selects and say, I'm a North Hardin student, then it's going to provide them a list of scholarships that they might qualify for based on being, living in Hardin County, being a North Hardin High School graduating senior.
So you guys have made it really easy for this to happen, and I know that last year I got to watch because of COVID, we did everything virtually, of course, and I got to watch the virtual ceremony, which was wonderful, and just to see so many of those students so thankful for what they had received, and that is obviously a foresight for 2021 seniors that they can get those scholarships, and the best way to do it is apply. You don't know what you don't know, and so you can get that scholarship. Don't think that, and talk about this if you would, just don't think that you're not going to get a scholarship just because you may not fit one or two of the criteria. That Scholarship Central is going to match them up to certain scholarships that they do fall into, that categories that they do fall into.
That's the best part about it, is there are so many different scholarships that target different students on Scholarship Central. So often I'll hear students, when we've been able to be in the schools in previous years and working with students, will be like, I'm not going to apply. I'm not the smartest kid. The valedictorian in our class gets everything. But there are so many scholarships on Scholarship Central, and they have different focus areas. So some are more academic based, but others are more maybe more focused on activities and community involvement. Some are more need focused. But honestly, very few of our scholarships are really just all about that top academic achieving student. So students should get on there and look and see. I would bet a student would be hard pressed to go on there and not find a scholarship that would that they wouldn't go, oh, you know what, that one's me, I should apply for that. And with that, not every student is going to come out the same way on scholarships. So it's all about how that student aligns with what that scholarship is about. So who gets a scholarship isn't necessarily a judgment on who's the best person or who's the smartest person. It's about what was important in that scholarship criteria and who best met it. And sometimes we see that it's all about who spends the time and puts the best foot forward on it. So that common application, a student's going to use maybe for 8 or 10 different scholarships. So if you think about the time you would spend completing 8 different scholarship applications, you really want to take some time and put your best foot forward on this common application, because it's got a lot of potential impact for your scholarship future.
We wanted to tell our viewers today, as you're watching this on Facebook Live, that you can ask questions in the comment section, or if you have any questions for the vet or scholarships that are about Scholarship Central, please put those in the comment section. I know a lot of you are wondering about school tomorrow. Don't ask those questions now. Ask questions about Scholarship Central, so we can make the best of use of the vet's time while she's here. But the vet, a lot of those, we talked about the ease of it, but just knowing that, again, that these are geared toward local students, and again, we know that not every scholarship on there is geared toward an HCS student or geared toward a Elizabethton Independent student or even a LaRue County student. Everything is all mixed together, and like you said, just emphasize again that you may put a lot of time into writing an essay, or maybe even just changing a form letter out to fit that type of scholarship or whatever. It's all done in one piece, and you guys have refined this over the years and made it really easier each year, haven't you?
Yeah, we want it to be easy for students. We know that, people are busy. Scholarships are important, but they also shouldn't be overly burdensome on students. So a lot of these seniors they're taking, heavy loads. They're taking college classes. Many of them are working jobs. A lot of them are involved in those activities and doing those things that we want to see on a scholarship application. So any way that we can simplify the process so that students spend their time on the things that best advance their scholarship application, that's what we want to do. So when a student completes that common application and then they go to apply for additional scholarships with that, they may find, as you referenced, John, that if they go to apply for a certain scholarship that they have to have an essay for that scholarship. So there may be some additional components to apply for certain scholarships, but they never have to go back and do that name, address, basic information again. Everything that they did in that common application carries forward. They may just have to answer an essay, write an essay question, or maybe get a letter of recommendation. So what I would suggest to students with some extra time that they might have this week with some snow, because it's coming down at my house, looks really pretty out the window, is go in and look at all the scholarships and decide which ones you're going to apply for, and see if any of them require some additional information like an essay or a letter of recommendation, so that you've got time to get those completed before the deadline, which we haven't even mentioned yet, is March 1st. So 2 weeks, March 1st. But you don't want to realize on February 28th that you need a letter of recommendation, because those adults that you ask for letters of recommendation get pretty grumpy when you do it at the 11th hour.
True. We need our sleep and our Metamucil and things like that. We don't have, we got to get ready.
Yeah, well, and we know that a lot of school people, they'll get asked for letters of recommendation from lots of students. So, be respectful, give them the time to complete those letters and to be able to do you a good job. And time to write your essay if you need to do those, so that you've got time to wrap everything up before that deadline. But when it comes to the deadline, I would also say that just because it's the deadline doesn't mean you have to wait till then to get finished. So every year on March 1st, as it gets closer to midnight, we start seeing the system get slower, and we up the capacity on it every year. We've never had an issue with people being able to submit, but you might find that it takes a little longer to work through things, and there's just no point in taking a chance on how that system's going, and something coming up in your life and not being able to get them finished at the last minute.
Our friend, the vet Greg Milby, is from Heartland Communications, is working with us on this broadcast and making this broadcast possible. And I thank Greg, because he and Heartland Communications are also good partners with both of us. So, Greg, I think there may be a couple of questions. I don't know if you can help us with that, but it seems like I did see maybe a couple of questions come in. Thank you, Greg. There's a question from Kathy Berry. Will a senior who attends a private school qualify? And of course, we know that we have students in our district who may have a sibling or a nephew or a cousin or whatever in a private school setting. And Devette, can you talk about that?
We have scholarships that have different criteria for each one of them. So there are scholarships that private school students and homeschool students will qualify for, but there also will be some that they may not qualify for that are specific to Central Hardin High School students or E-Town High School students, LaRue County High School students. So just like with everybody else, get on there and look and see which ones you're eligible for. We've had Catholic school students, which, we don't actually have a Catholic high school here in Hardin County, but outside of the county, we've had homeschool students receive scholarships in the past. And so some they're eligible for and others are not. And John, I appreciate you giving the broader platform with Hardin County Schools hosting this to talk about that a little bit. But if I could put in a plug, if any parents are watching this because they've got high school seniors, but they're thinking about going back to school themselves this year, or already in school at HCEC, right now we have scholarships for anyone going to HCEC, not just graduating high school seniors. So, we were working a scholarship event last week, and a parent realized, oh, I could apply too because I'm starting back to school in August. Absolutely. So any way we can get the word out. It's not just all about high school seniors, although that gets to be what people think of when they think about scholarships a lot.
Absolutely. And not just high school seniors. We have a question too about juniors. Connor Shocklett has asked, do you have any advice for juniors who are looking to apply for those scholarships next year? I think it's advantageous for underclassmen to get on there and just look and see what's available so I can start planning for next school year.
That's a great question. And juniors can get on there and look at the list of scholarships. There's a browse scholarships page and see what's there and start, identifying the ones that they think that they may qualify for. The other suggestions I would have for juniors would be go ahead and start sort of working on that resume. Not so much as you think about one for applying for a job, but what are the things that you've done during your high school career, and gathering all of that in one place: community service activities, clubs, leadership opportunities, sports, any involvement you've had that you're going to want to showcase in your scholarship application. And this is a great time to be putting those together so that when it comes time to start doing those applications, you're not trying to think back. Well, now, what did I do? And what was the name of that award I got? You have all of that together in one place, and you can spend your time more efficiently completing applications rather than hunting and gathering.
Yeah, that's a great question, Connor. So thank you. I think there's another question that Greg can share is, are there scholarships just for the fall semester, or can they be used for summer classes? That's another great question. Thank you, Christina.
Our scholarships do start with the fall semester in August, but they go through the following summer semester. So they would start in August and someone would have an entire academic year. They just run August through July for when the dollars can be used. Some of our scholarships are also renewable. So definitely pay attention to those, because those offer even more bang for your buck if you happen to receive a renewable scholarship. That would mean that then you don't have to compete in the subsequent years for the scholarship. You may just have to meet like minimum requirements to continue the scholarship.
Awesome. Thank you, Christina. That is a great question. DeVette, you all have also offered us some office hours that we know some students have taken advantage of. I know last Wednesday, you've been doing those on Wednesdays. I know last Wednesday was a little hard to bring students in, so you did that virtually. I hope you had some success with that. And I'm not trying to spill the beans, but that may be another situation you find yourself in this Wednesday. But just talk about the office hours that you all have been doing to help with students to apply for these scholarships.
Yeah, so in the past, we've been able to have like a workshop a couple different nights where students and parents could come in. But this year with COVID and things, we thought we would try a little bit different approach. So we've offered every Wednesday afternoon in January and February from 2 to 5 that people could stop in our office and get one-on-one assistance if they've got any questions or anything. And so we've been able to do that in person, but last week we did shift and make that virtual, and we've already made the decision to go ahead and do that again for this Wednesday. It worked really well. We'll be pushing out on social media later today a link. We Sign Up Genius. People can go in, sign up for a slot. We'll send you a Zoom invite and hop on. That way people can ask any questions they have that may be, of personal nature rather than in a big, broad platform. But if people can't do it at that time, there's a place on Scholarship Central at any time you can click for help. We may not be available like at midnight if you click for help then, because we're a pretty small staff. But if you send us an email, if you click that help or pick up the phone and call us normally, not when we may be out of the office for snow, but you'll get somebody. We answer the phone. We had somebody one year go, "Wow, you're a real person." Yeah, we're real people. It doesn't go to a call center in like India or something, because we want to help students, and we don't want somebody that gets to a question and go, "I'm not really sure what that means," and just stop. We want to help them push on through and get those applications completed. So we really encourage students to take advantage of those office hours, to call us or email us with questions. Our goal is to help students apply because we don't want those barriers to keep a good student from getting a scholarship or moving on forward with their education. We also are available for any of your teachers. We can pop into a Google Meet in a classroom to help answer questions or do anything like that if teachers want us to do that. In the past, we've gone into some classes in person, but we're glad to hop in virtually, or if we're back in person and schools can accommodate guests in the building, we're glad to do that too.
Awesome. Thank you, Devette. Let's see if I don't, let's kind of circle back. I don't see any additional questions with our Facebook Live. But again, folks, we know folks will watch this later, and Greg and his team are going to be putting this on. They'll give us a link to share on our YouTube channels. And also, Devette mentioned those virtual office hours and a way to do that on Sign Up Genius. We'll be pushing that as well when we see Devette's team push that out. We'll be pushing that out as well. So just be watching the HCS social media channels as well. Devette, anything else that we need to talk about with Scholarship Central wise that maybe we haven't touched on in the last 20 minutes or so?
You know, I'll just say that there's a lot of people that go into making these scholarships possible, and we couldn't do it without the donors. We also couldn't do it with the over 100 volunteer reviewers that will help score them. So we're really appreciative to people who help us do that. And so students sometimes wonder what happens next after they complete an application. And after students complete their application, the high school guidance counselors actually go in and report their academic information, their ACT score, their GPA. So students don't submit that, the guidance counselors do. And then it goes through a review process with volunteer reviewers who go through and score and make those selections, all in the blind process. They can't see names or identifying information. And then those scores are averaged together to select the winners that we'll announce the end of April. So it's always good for people to know when they can expect to hear something. We'll have a lot of applications, and those award winners will definitely get notified.
And last year we talked about briefly already the virtual scholarship presentations that you did at the end of the year, and that was neat because obviously you had taped that, so they knew that night that they had probably received the award, but you did like Google Meets with them or Zoom calls with some of those recipients, and they didn't know that they had received that scholarship until you told them. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that some of those scholarships, they mean a lot to that particular individual. For example, one that comes to mind, and there are several like this, but one that comes to mind is the Mike and Sharon Bell Scholarship. And I remember the young man who received that award, knows Brother Mike and was also friends with his wife Sharon. So those scholarships sometimes mean a lot to that recipient because they know the people that have given the funds for that scholarship.
Definitely. You know what, John, actually there were only about 2 or 3 of them that knew they were a recipient before that night. The rest of them found out when they watched it that night, like you were watching. So that was pretty cool. They knew that they needed to watch because they were likely a recipient, but they did not know what they would be receiving. So that was pretty fun to be able to do, for them. We tried to make the best out of doing a virtual event that we could. We couldn't have done it without the help of so many people. Guidance counselors helped us get in contact with students and follow up with them. And the team at Heartland Communications helped us pull that together pretty quickly early in the pandemic. And so we were just glad to still be able to try to make something special for those students in receiving those scholarships. But you speak to what's important about the scholarships we award, and that is that local connection and the honor that goes with getting some of those. The money is, of course, super important when it comes to paying for college, but that honor and recognition and that sort of investment and support that a community gives means a lot to students as well.
Absolutely. Legacies are important. And of course, that's what Central Kentucky Community Foundation helps to protect and helps to build on is legacy. So you guys are tremendous partners. And again, of not only our students, but of the whole region of Central Kentucky. And we're just grateful to have the Central Kentucky Community Foundation as a partner. So I'm going to refresh here on our social media. If there are any more questions, I do not see any. But again, you can watch this later. And if you have questions, if someone has questions to vet after they've seen this, they just need to reach out to you guys. Can you tell us how someone can reach out to you all?
I would say right now the best way would be an email to info@CKCF, the number 4people.org, the website there on the screen right now, info@CKCF. forpeople.org. You could also normally give our office a call, but depending on weather as to whether or not we're going to be in the next day or two. But that number, which would be good, 8393.
Awesome. And Jennifer and Aaron at your office are wonderful as well, and they'll help folks get what they need. So again, thanks to Greg Milby at Heartland Communications for helping us on this. We're so grateful for his help, and the vet and Jennifer and Aaron at CKCF and their board of directors. Again, just making Scholarship Central available to students. That's critical, and we are so thankful for them. So again, if you have questions, follow the directions the vet gave you, and they'll get with you. We'll be pushing information about those virtual office hours out soon that CKCF will be offering on Wednesdays. And again, scholarship deadline is March 1. Today is March the 15th. That gives you about 2 weeks to get in and get in there and apply, get your recommendations, your letters of recommendation done, and things like that. So again, the vet, thank you so much. We appreciate you.